I am about to ask you one of the most powerful questions to receive an answer for something that maybe you've been dealing with for a while. How do you feel when someone accuses you of doing something you did not do? How do you feel? Especially think about how you feel even though you know you're not guilty. How do you feel? Because if we feel triggered to the point where we get upset and we lose our temper, that basically reflects the way we really feel about us deep inside. And you will find yourself responding like you're guilty. Responding in the mood, in the vibration of being guilty. And your tone may sound like you are trying to explain your case or defend yourself. Like, obviously you feel guilty. And as kids, we would always say, if you get mad about something, it must mean you did it. It must mean you're guilty. Right? Somebody will say, oh, you put it in class. And you're like, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. You get all mad. And people like, you definitely did, because look how upset you're getting. So what does this mean if this happens? Well, this means that we have guilt wounds deep inside where maybe sometimes we feel guilty for mistakes that we've made or decisions that we've made, and now we're seeing the impact of those decisions. So if you feel guilty on the inside, subconsciously, you usually maybe this is a part of the subconscious mind, so you aren't fully aware that this is a feeling floating in your subconscious mind. But when you're triggered in that manner, the way you respond reflects how wounded you are. The more enlightened we become, the less reactive we are to any trigger outside of us that has anything to do with whether or not we did something wrong or not. And when you know who you are, and you know that you live in dignity, and you live as genuine as possible, it will not bother you if somebody else perceives you as bad or doing something wrong. It won't bother you. You only get bothered if somehow the person who is perceiving you in a certain way might be disappointed in you or might think different about you. Like, if this happens, you have a fear of how other people see you. And if you have a fear of the way other people see you, you won't be free to be you. And you will relate through a mask. Whatever infinite amount of masks have been created through life, each time something happened that was traumatic for you, small t and big T trauma. And oftentimes we internalize these wounds, especially early childhood wounds, and forward to today, we internalize those wounds. And so you can measure your self-healing journey by how reactive you are when you are triggered or when you are being accused of something. And after you hear this, even if you get triggered and you go into whatever your maladaptive response is, the pattern that you've been following, your coping mechanism, if you could just look at yourself in that moment and open your heart to see that that's just pain acting out that has not been healed yet. If you use this mantra, this is my pain acting out, and it hasn't been healed yet, that way you don't feel like you're going backwards when you react in a trigger way. And by feeling like you're going backwards when you react in a trigger way, you actually put yourself in a trap of your own imagination. And you will find yourself living in a state of defense and being ready to defend yourself at any point in time that somebody try to say you did something wrong. This come up with me and my children, you know, where if my children like, Mama, you lied to me. It's like a knife in my heart. And I had to feel into what that was. And I was like, yeah, I wouldn't be so triggered by this if it wasn't a wound that I have not given enough love to yet. So it's just your trauma showing up, and it's to help you to release the need to wear the mask that has got you this far.